Here we are again, Artie. Friday night.
An exciting Friday, Nick. Very exciting Friday, of course.
Packed show.
Packed show. Every Friday, a lot of the fans are getting very excited over my new three-team tease lock. I've perused the schedule for this week and later on in the show.
I got one already, too.
Do you have a tease?
Oh, it's all lined up.
Oh, yeah?
3 teams.
I bet we have at least one of the same.
Do you?
I bet we have at least
we
one.
have to.
I know we have, but I think there's one that, to me, there's one glaring one. There's one gimme. It should be 3 gimmies. That's why they call it the tease. But everybody is
funny you say that, because one did stick out.
Oh,
amazingly.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder what one.
We'll see if it's the same one.
Yeah.
I bet it is. But so later we'll be revealing both of our teases. And these are 5-star locks. I know last week I lost the 5-star lock, but 2 were gimmies and 1 was half a point. I mean, you can't get on me for that.
That's right.
These
I
are
agree
bet,
with you there.
These are bet everything you own type stuff.
Let me ask you this, Artie.
Yeah.
And I remember saying this about 10 years ago, and I realized what parody was.
Yeah.
I said, this is the time to do 3-team teases.
Right.
Right?
In
the more parody.
In the time of parody.
Right?
When there's
That's true.
Like they say, when there's blood on the streets, buy real estate. You understand?
Who says that?
I don't know. I think some of the Nazi officials said that. But no, this is
Tony Robbins.
When there's parody in the NFL, that's when teases work.
Yeah, because parody means every game comes within a 3-point range.
So you need a couple of crazy lines, and you can make the lines crazy.
9 points in a parody-filled league is a ton of points.
And now on my 5-star locks, I'm 0-1. Okay.
By a hair, though. A red hair.
With the teases, I'm 0-1. But don't let that affect your decision. Artie Ken Cole, I love the tease. And I've won a lot of money over the years. So don't let this affect you. I'm telling you right now, this is sell your car, mortgage your house, put the money on
fill up your generator.
Yeah, fill up your generator. If you have an odd number, you could fill up today. What is it? I can't even. I don't even. That's the other thing now with the odd and even.
I think it's your day. You have an odd number?
I have an odd number, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's your day.
Well, listen.
I got my electricity back tonight, Artie.
Oh, good. I'm out.
6:30, 11 days to the minute.
That's unbelievable.
11 days to the minute.
11 days without power nowadays in this world. That ain't good.
I mean, I had a generator, so I'm cheating, but I'm just saying my neighbors right next to me were gone for 11 days.
Where'd they go?
To some relatives.
They had to go to a relative, yeah. I know.
You know?
Could you imagine?
No.
Squeezing into a relative's house.
No, only Bo Shetty could imagine that.
I'd rather not have power. There's some relatives where you go, I'd rather not have power. I don't care about running water or anything.
I dread it on Thanksgiving, going voluntarily, and I'm sure they do.
And you get to leave at the end of the night. With food.
You know what I mean? So
I don't know. I'd rather not have power.
I was laying in the dark examining myself, and the lights came on. I thought I got caught, you know?
Examining yourself. Yeah.
Looking for lumps.
But the other big thing about tonight's Friday show is the 2 girls, the twins, Marie and Liz Canavan, will be doing 5 minutes each of original stand-up today.
Now who are they again? Refresh my memory.
They've now had 3 weeks to prepare. And I'll say this to the girls. You girls must be very popular because every other person I've talked to in the last couple of weeks who know this show, they're texting me. They can't wait. They can't wait for the twins to do stand-up. Now, they wrote this on their own. And it's 5 minutes each. And I'm Nick, you know from when beginning, although maybe you didn't have as bad an experience.
Baloney, it's frightening.
5 minutes of stand-up when doesn't sound like a lot. If you're bombing, it's an eternity. An eternity. And they're not getting off stage before 5 minutes.
And the odds that you're doing it the first time, the odds that you're bombing are about 99%.
And they got to write it all. But a lot of great material, Nick, if they want to do some current event stuff. They have the election, the storm.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're tapping into... I just learned that trick 10 years ago myself.
We've got a lot of stuff on Obamacare.
Yeah,
We've got a lot of stuff on first responders. We've got a lot of stuff on cutting money to FEMA.
Did you guys, when both of you first went up, did you guys bomb or how'd it go?
I bombed miserably.
Really?
I think I know Nick's story is you did pretty well, right? Yeah,
well, no, I mean, one joke would get a giggle, the next one would get dead silence, and a giggle, then a dead silence, and you know, I'm doing an impression of Archie Bunker receiving oral. I mean, that's gonna fly but my first line ever on stage was an ad lib about the guy in front of me. He had a tuxedo on.
Right.
I had a sweatshirt, and I referenced a tuxedo shop.
Now,
I said,
what? Okay, no, go
well, I said I didn't know I was following Mr. Saunders tonight with a
Okay.
sarcastic, and it got a nice giggle throughout.
And that's
the,
a local reference, which always helps.
Exactly, which I didn't know. I didn't know at that point that it was just being sarcastic.
Now,
And
how old were you?
I was 14.
See,
No, I was 25.
I was 19 years old when I
Oh, see,
first.
that's when you're supposed to go at it.
Well, I had nothing else to do. I had to go to college. I had nothing going
Lucky
on.
bastard! If I started at 19, I'd be on basic cable.
And it was at the original Improv on 9th and 44th on a Sunday night, and I bombed really bad. And the bit that I remember that got the only kind of chuckle was I did a song parody that I still do on stage because I like messing around with the crowd. If the show Cheers were about a gay bar in Boston called Queers, and I wrote a theme song to it.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. What are you kidding me?
I still do it.
It's a parody, but it's still funny.
But this is 1987. It was less politically correct times, and I was 19. But so I got a couple of chuckles with that, but the rest was bad, just bad. Yeah. So the girls.
My big closer was I broke up with my girlfriend. She's always too busy. She's always whining, harping on me. Will you shave my back? That was a good night, everybody. People
Back
like wah, wah.
Back shaving stuff's great. But Bud Friedman, who owns the Improv, and was his wife,
Silva
Friedman. Okay, she got the New York Improv in the divorce. So by 1987, when I was up there, she ran the New York Improv. He had screwed out with a younger broad back in.
That's
he went
right.
to LA.
I remember that.
Silva Friedman looked like someone named Silva Friedman. That's what I'll say. Okay?
She wore a Gilligan's hat.
Yeah.
70-year-old lady with a Gilligan's hat on.
Right. So I went back to her after my set. This is like 2 o'clock in the morning because I didn't go down until 1. But the old Improv didn't see many people. On a Sunday night, it was kind of packed. And I said, Miss Friedman, do you have any advice? She said, I only give advice, honey, to people who pass the audition. Real evil. Like, just go F yourself. I have no time for you. And look, I suck. She was right. But I drove home that night back to Jersey, right through the Holland Tunnel, right here. In my father's handicapped van, I wanted to go back and strangle her. I only give advice to people who pass the audition.
I had to drive down from Boston and audition for her 3 times. All the way. Picture this. You've never driven to New York City, and you get an audition at 1:45 in the morning. And you're driving from Boston.
The first time you came to New York was for an audition at the Improv.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a stressful 3 hours. My God.
Dude, just making to the city? I mean, and looking for a parking spot and
Dude, me driving into New York that day at 19, I grew up 5 miles from here. It was stressful.
I know. I was sweating bullets. I parked in front of an Original Rays. I got there like an hour early. I'm sitting in Original Rays.
I know the Original Rays. You probably parked them.
And so the third time she passed me, and I remember the bit was about having sex. I made it up with a girl with a wooden leg. And she said, do you have any protection? I said, I have some lemon pledge. That was the big zinger. That's the one Silva laughed at.
Wow.
After it took me 3 shots, and I didn't do well that night. I think I did better the first 2. But she's like, yeah, you know, that bit right there he showed, it was like 3 minutes long.
My first one, the one I was talking about, my first one, it was July the 12th, 1987, that I drove in, and Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead were doing a concert at Giant Stadium. And I remember Howard talked about the concert on K-Rock. And I went with a couple of buddies to the concert in the afternoon. It was a daytime thing. And I got a little lit. And I said, screw it. I'm going to go in and try stand-up. I didn't tell anybody. So I took the van from the Giant Stadium parking lot from Dylan and the Dead. I drove in. I parked in front of the Milford Plaza on 8th Avenue, or 9th Ave. And I went in the bathroom in the Milford Plaza when I found out I got the spot. Because it was a lottery. They had 200 white pieces of paper and a hat. And if
I remember hearing that.
If you picked out a piece of paper that had a number on it,
Yeah.
that was your number that night. So I said, I won't have to go on, but I still have the balls to come.
Yep.
Sure enough, I'm the first one. I picked number 10. I'm 10 that night.
That's
and it's
you, Marty.
5:30 in the afternoon, and I got to come back at 8:30 and stay in that little bar. Didn't go on till 1, but I went to the bathroom at the Milford Plaza and started practicing the lame stuff I had prepared. And I really bombed. A week later, I went on in Jersey, bombed worse, and then I didn't do stand-up again for 2 years. I was that.
That's almost similar to my situation.
I mean, I was miserable. Like, I said, God, I suck at this, and it took 2 years to get the balls up to do it.
After my first open mic, I had to move to Rhode Island. I was selling steak and seafood out of the back of an Isuzu pup,
Yeah, but see,
door to door.
But you sound like you had a better experience, which makes sense. If you were a bar back at Stitches, you were probably back there, naturally funny guy. You got up there and kind of, I mean, now what we think is obviously doing well, it's not close to doing well. But
no,
even for those standards, Nick, I bombed. Like, I remember really feeling bad. And Sylvia Freeman hammered it home. So this is great we're having this conversation because I hope it horrifies the twins even more.
Mike, who's on the show?
Oh, cool. Tonight, on the show.
He's never ready.
Oh, wait, Mike, wait a minute. Mike, when did you try stand-up for the first time, and what was that like? When was
I tried it September 7th, 1989. It was first time.
What was it? December 7th?
Right before the San Francisco earthquake.
Oh, September 7th,
Oh,
1989.
September. I thought you said Pearl Harbor Day.
And
September 11th.
That made more sense. That
I
was
went
funny.
on.
September 7th, 89.
I went on, and it was like on Staten Island, like in an older people's place, like in their 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah.
That's all right.
I got up there, they were laughing at me before I said anything.
Oh, that's
then I-
neat.
I don't understand that. You thought that would go ahead.
And I spoke, and I tanked it for like 5 minutes up there.
Yeah. That was mine. I tanked.
I auditioned for Silverado a couple of times.
Did you?
She just looked at me like, but Bud liked me, He passed me at the Improv in L.A.
Bud Freeman, I met a couple times. He was nice to me. Silver Freeman was so evil towards you. But again, in hindsight, you know what, Nick? I sucked. Like, I was probably
Well, I
wasting.
agree. Of course, at that level.
But I was wasting her time. I was like, okay, to get rid of
Are you sure?
She was busy.
I'd like to see.
She was a
I had to follow Jerry Diner.
She's not alive, is she?
No, Jerry Diner, the guy.
No.
Oh, Silva, you mean?
It's still Silver's dead, right?
I don't think so. Artie.
No?
I haven't read that. I check every day, hoping. But
July
No,
the 12th, 87 is 25 years ago. She looked like near death 25 years
I'm
ago.
kidding. She was nice to me, and Bud was to some point. and then some legal issues, but I still appreciate what they did for the comedy community. Both of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bud Friedman started comedy clubs. The Improv's the first comedy club.
In the evening at the Improv, those shows.
Yeah.
Luckily, Shane wasn't born yet, and who else?
I know,
a
these
few other
guys-
youngsters. Every channel was stand-up guys in front of a fake brick wall with a red shirt.
Oh. These
But,
conversations make you feel. Shane, what were you doing July 12th, 1987 while I was at Dylan Dead? And
Teething.
Let's see. I would have been almost 4 years old. I'd imagine I was probably eating my own boogers.
you had probably done more work as a man than I had done at that point on the
Eating
farm.
my own boogers. Eating
But,
my own boogers.
interestingly enough, I was 19. I was doing the same thing. I was doing my own,
I've seen adults do that. I was at an airport and saw a guy eat his own. What is that? I didn't do it as a kid. I didn't understand it when I was first grade.
It doesn't make any sense at any age,
It
but
does-
it's a lot. Everyone does it.
I already explained it to
I've
me.
never eaten a booger.
I'm trying to
And look at
seriously.
me. I'm gross. I've never eaten a booger.
I'm not trying to be funny
No,
here.
I understand what
it's
you're
a
saying.
dead serious question. I never saw the connection.
Why wouldn't you try to desperately get rid of it on a wall or your pants before eating it, right? Like, it doesn't make
on the
any
back
sense.
of the cab driver's neck.
At any age.
I clearly picked the wrong generic little kid thing to say.
No, it's not. But it is a generic thing. It makes sense. A lot of people do it. It's odd, but Nick brings up a good point.
I saw a couple adults, somebody I know, who's passed on since, and I almost fainted.
No, it is gross.
You thought it was a T-bone steak.
In front of you? Like just right
He didn't know.
blatantly-
Yes.
A T-bone steak.
Yeah. I mean, if I gave him a knife and fork, he would have asked for the A1.
A T-bone steak.
It's so moist.
So that's bullshit. Do that again.
It's so moist.
There's a keeper.
That is gross.
Oh.
Now, Danny, on July 12th, 1987, you were at your 40th birthday, right?
No. I was in London.
You were in London. Okay, we know that.
here we
Dan's
go.
Mr. Culture.
Is that where he met his life partner?
I was in London. I was at the running of the bulls in Pamplona.
Hey, you know, there's a gay scene in Skyfall.
How'd you know that?
There is with
I went and
who?
saw it.
The
What is
James
Skyfall?
Bond?
Yeah.
Don't
Oh.
disappoint me now. The James Bond movie? Is
course
it with
there
him?
is.
Is it with him?
Yeah. I mean, it's not
He
graphic.
kisses a guy?
No, no.
Dan, I didn't know you were still doing background work. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Wait, so he kisses a guy? or
No,
makes
no,
out?
no, no. Somebody's playing with his chest.
No kidding.
Yeah. It was all,
This was hot. This was the hottest
Am I
Bond ever.
wrong to say I don't want to see that? Does that make me homophobic?
Let me explain something to you. This is really, that's like bringing gay to the Super Bowl because James Bond is not a, that's
the point.
He's the antithesis of it.
But that's the point, Artie. That's the point. That's why George
Create
Clooney.
your own character.
That's
where
why.
it's like,
That's why George Clooney, Tom Selleck. Think of any macho guy has been accused. Has
Yeah.
always been accused of. We heard he's gay.
and compare.
Travolta they nailed, I think. But,
I think they're on the money.
but
with
I'm
that one.
saying, no matter Thurman Munson, if he was alive today, they go, we heard things.
No, I'm
telling you,
those
though.
are fighting words for me.
I know that, and that's the
That's
idea. They want to put that seed in your head. Hey.